All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about the distance formula. You're being asked to find the distance between these 2 points plotted on a Cartesian plane. So what I did real quick is I put these 2 dots down for you. And what we're trying to determine is what is this distance. Now, first time you're asked to do one of these problems, you probably figured out that you can create right triangles, figure the distance of your legs, and then use the Pythagorean theorem to determine that. But there's a much quicker way, and that is using the distance formula. So what is the distance formula? I'm going to write it right here in the middle for you. Distance is equal to the square root of our second x value minus our first x value squared plus our second y value minus our first y value also squared. So one thing I would tell my students to do is absolutely label underneath. These are all xy coordinates, so xy, xy. Because that coordinate was given to us first, we're going to put 1s on it. This coordinate is given second, we're going to put 2s on it. Now, if you look at what we've labeled, we should be able to just plug and play with those values in this formula. So let's do the first one. Distance is going to be equal to the square root of, we need to look over here and say, what is my second x value? In this case, it's a 4. x2 is 4. So my second value is going to be 4 minus our first x value, which is -2. Subtracting a negative is really just adding. Okay, so we're going to need to add those 2 values together and then square it. We're going to add y2 minus y1. Well, my y2 is a -8 minus my y1, which is a 0, and square that. So let's work this out. 4 minus -2, really just adding 2 to 4, that gives you 6. We need to square it. -8 minus 0 is going to just give you -8, and we still need to square that, and then we're going to take the root of that at the end to find our distance. 6 squared, we all know, is 36, plus -8 squared. Remember, a negative times itself is going to come out as a positive, so you're going to get 64 there. 36 and 64 combine together to make 100, so the square root of 100 is 10. Our distance between these 2 points would be 10. Now that comes out as a nice, neat number, but what happens if it doesn't? Let's look at this example over here, work that out, and show you how we can write it out in radical form. All right, so again, square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Let's just plug our information in. Which one is my second x value? That would be 1 in this case. So 1 minus my first x value of 7. 1 minus 7 is going to give me -6. I'll need to square that. Over here, my second y value, remember my second y value is what goes down right here. That's going to be 2 minus 0. -6 squared plus 2 minus 0, which gives me 2. And I'll need to square that. So -6 squared gives me 36, positive 36, because a -6 times itself is a positive. 2 squared is going to give me 4. Right now I need to take the root of 40. Now how do I take root 40 and write that in radical form? We need to factor it out. Square root of 40 is no different than the square root of 4 times the square root of 10. And why do I want to split it up? Because square root of 4 is a perfect square. We can break that down to just a 2 root 10 for a final answer on this second problem. Sometimes you're going to have to give it in radical form because you're going to get something that's a decimal that goes on forever. Other times you can just give it as that value of 10 if it comes out nice and neat as an integer. Hopefully this makes sense. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.